What is up, guys? Welcome to the Forge Gaming, and we are here for our second episode of 1v1, our debate series, where Troy and I will go at it head-to-head, and we'll pick a hot topic of whatever's going on at the moment, and I'll usually win.
Sure.
Troy,
Sure.
I presented the question about Destiny 2 last week. What are we talking about today?
All right, so it's my turn to pick the question, and today's question is this the best time to be a gamer?
Like right now, is this
Right
like
now.
the best
Right
age,
now.
the best
The
era
best era
of gaming as a whole?
Yeah, of gaming as a whole.
I believe that yes, it is.
Okay. I went first last time for the Destiny.
So you want me to
it's your
explain
turn.
it? You
Go
want me
ahead.
to explain myself? Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, for one, options. I mean, we have three, great brands, not even including PC, just going at it, making the best games we've seen so far, best graphics, best story. Story maybe not so much current, but we have the option to go back to everything that is in the past. The stuff that was made that is better than what we have nowadays is still accessible for us to go and benefit from. Like the Xbox is getting more and more backwards compatibility. PC has always had that option. From Minesweeper to Titanfall 2, you got your options. You have the hardware, you've got the software. I feel like it's as good as it's ever been, and it's only getting better, especially with the 4K and frame rates and all that going on. So I want to hear why you disagree, because I feel like that's a pretty solid argument there. So
All right, so the reason why I think that this is not the best time to be a gamer is because I feel like games in general have been diluted. I feel like during this time and era, not saying that games still aren't fun, they're still fun, but there are so many of the same type of games, and it's not just it'd be one thing if it's just a bunch of AAA games that are just coming out, like a crap load of crap load of indie games. I mean,
yeah,
they're just coming out, but these are AAA games, man. They're like big time games, and it's so repetitive, man. It is so repetitive, and also I feel like because there are so many developers now. There's so many developers that all of those great minds that make video games have all spread out.
So whenever you say repetitive, what do you feel like has gotten repetitive? Like, you think that all the shooters are the same?
They're they all do the same thing at the same time. Like, for some odd reason, everybody decided to jump into the future.
Yeah.
Like it was like, okay,
well, I think
they're doing this,
most
so
of everything
we're all
had
gonna
been
do this too.
Almost everything had been done already. I mean, we're trying to jump forward. I mean, like, Call of Duty, for instance, as a main topic point here. They're finally going back to it because everybody's tired of the futuristic stuff. But the reason there was a time, like around the time that Ghost came out, Call of Duty Ghosts. That was right around the time that Titanfall came out, Destiny came out, and futuristic games were where it was at. And so Call of Duty had to get with the times, and it bred that horrible nightmare of Advanced Warfare. And that's kind of how we started this whole era.
Well, here's my argument about keeping up with the times.
Okay.
Mario is my argument. They continue to do what they want, how they want to do it with Nintendo.
Okay.
And Mario, yes, from the NES to the Nintendo Switch, which I don't own. I was going to do a point at it. I don't have it.
Yeah.
Mario has changed over the years, but there's not much difference between Mario now and Mario and the Nintendo 64. Over the last few console generations.
We talked about that whenever we did our E3 review of was Super Mario Odyssey, about how the mechanics and a lot of the actions and moves and stuff are still some of the same mechanics that were used back in the 80s.
Yeah.
And so okay, go ahead. Finish. I'm gonna tell you why you're wrong after that.
Okay, go ahead. I was gonna switch to something else.
Okay, well, look, you're talking about the old era was better, but that old era is still readily accessible to us. So if you can just go back and play the game, I mean, a person could get into gaming for the first time in their life and never even touch anything from the 2000s and still have hundreds of games to play on like a dozen consoles. So why is it better back then whenever you have less options than now?
Well, I think more options is not better. I think more options is too many options. Just like we were talking about before, how there were too many games coming out last year.
Yeah.
And there were so many games that were just coming out that it's just overwhelming, and we totally missed the ball and missed out on a crap load of games.
Mm-hmm.
During the 90s, when I feel like gaming was at its best, during the 90s, you didn't miss a game, bro.
Yeah.
Like, there were good games that came out, and you got to sit there and enjoy them, and you didn't feel this overwhelming thing of games just over flooding you all of a sudden. It's like, I'm sitting over here and I'm looking at my games, and I got Doom sitting over there, which I love but hardly ever gets played. I got Tom Clancy Rainbow Six Siege sitting over there,
right,
which I really like but hardly ever gets played. I got Overwatch, which I really love but also hardly ever gets played. And so
these sound like good problems in comparison to some other things. I mean, would you rather have not enough games to play? I mean,
it's one of those things where it's like, it's better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all.
I mean, puke.
Well, I feel like it's better to have never loved at all than it is better to have loved and lost. You don't want to feel that loss. And the thing is that during the 90s, you had two fighting games. Let's take fighting games, for instance, that you played. You either played Street Fighter or you played Mortal Kombat.
Right.
You know? And then you had some junk fighters that weren't really all that popular. Maybe had a cult following, like Virtual Fighter, Killer Instinct.
Yeah.
Those games came out, but they couldn't even compete with, you know, if you had the, like, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, or Killer Instinct and Virtual Fighter.
Yeah.
You know, it's
I see what you're saying.
Landslide. Total landslide. And so I could get those games and really enjoy them, you know?
I don't know. I just still feel like if you wanted to go and do all that stuff, and I understand what you're saying, because if you right now were to drop everything and go play all the old games again, or even the games that are just a couple years old, you feel like you'd be missing out on all the current games that are about to come out.
Exactly.
And a lot of times, you know, Troy and I both kind of have a sigh whenever we realize that the release date of a game is like within a month of another game we're wanting to get.
It's the worst.
I don't know, but I like having the option of being able to go back. I mean, some of the games that I play more than anything else right now are Rock Band 4 and Skate 3. Skate 3 has been out for years. Rock Band 4 came out, I think, in 2014. I played Black Ops 3 yesterday, and, you know, I don't know. I find myself wondering what game to play more often than there are too many games that I want to play right now.
Well, I mean, the thing is that just right now when I was playing, after I finished playing Madden earlier, it's like I'm sitting there looking at my games, and I spend like 15 to 20 minutes trying to decide what I want to play.
Right.
As opposed to during a time when there weren't a lot of games, and I knew what I wanted to play. Did I want to play a platformer game? Then I would play Mario or Metroid. You know, did I want to play? I mean, you can kind of call Sonic a platformer game too, but it was totally different from Mario and Metroid. It's more fast paced.
Right.
Did I want to play RPG? Freaking Zelda or Phantasy Star Universe? You know, like or Final Fantasy. You know, if I want to play RPG, the pickings were slim, but they were really good. And I could really get into them and enjoy them without feeling like I was going to miss out on something.
So what about the quality of these games, though? I mean, because the quality is continuing to go up in these games, especially, like, you know, mechanic and graphic-wise and stuff like that. So, I mean, do you still feel like, though the selection of games might have been more ideal back then, the games that we have now, technologically speaking, are a lot better?
I feel like we have given up story for quality.
You don't think there's been some good stories to come out? I mean, The Last of Us was a great story.
The Last of Us was a great story.
Finally playing through BioShock, great story. You know, those are more recent games with great stories.
Yeah, I mean, you go and look at Halo 5.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, no. Wait.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. I know exactly what we're going to talk about next week now. Crap.
You know, like it's like some of these games, man, like they're totally just biting it on the story. It's getting to the point to where games don't even have stories anymore.
Well, like Overwatch and you know, the first Titanfall, and
Rainbow Six.
Yeah.
You know, like some of these games are just totally
Destiny.
Yeah, Destiny story was not really all that great.
Yeah.
You know, like.
It's become more about scale almost. It's become like how big can we make our game?
Yeah.
How you know, fantastically, huge and explosive and loud, and I understand that, in the past it wasn't quite like that. And it's kind of like, you look at old movies and stuff, especially like, comparing them to nowadays, it's because they couldn't do a whole lot with graphics and they didn't have all the CGI back then.
Yeah.
They had to rely more solely on story because they were kind of limited. So yeah, I can see that. I don't know. I personally like having a lot of options, and I think that right now, we have emulators, we have the virtual console you were just looking at online, thinking about purchasing. About it, you can play all these old games, and I feel like we have all these options, that it really is the best time to be a gamer right now, because we can play whatever we want, almost however we want. Backwards compatibility is becoming more of a trend, and I just feel like we have whatever we want to play at our fingertips pretty much whenever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Another thing I wanted to get on that I feel like is not totally abandoned today, but it is definitely a dying breed, and that is the arcade. The arcade was a golden time in gaming history. Arcades still exist.
You mean like actual physical locations?
Yeah, actual physical locations where you would go.
I don't know of any more buildings that are specifically arcades, at least in our area. And now, like, every movie theater has an arcade and stuff like that. But it's more of like games of like the claw machine kind of generality than the video games. So I see what you mean by that.
There was nothing like, playing Street Fighter at the arcade. 1v1 like we're doing right now.
Yeah.
And having 30 people standing behind you.
Oh yeah.
While you're going at it. It's like it was or playing any game in particular and having 30 people behind you standing at an arcade watching you go. It's like watching a street fight.
Yeah,
like everybody's like, oh my god.
I remember that, or the best games would have like a huge line of people, with tokens in their hand waiting to get in the next play, and everybody's trying to beat each other's high scores and all that. I wish that we could see that trend come back, but as technology progresses, I don't think it's going to be quite as relevant.
And this is like a whole other topic, but the social aspect of gaming now has almost to an extent become strictly online.
Yeah, no.
To where it's gaming has become more impersonal.
Don't you think that the online aspect can add more social to it though? Because I have friends that I've never met in person, and I know you do too, who you've known on Xbox Live or PlayStation Network for the longest time.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that with the arcades is that friends became more than just friends from gaming, because when you're playing with someone online, you're playing with that person online, and you'll probably never see that person in real life. It's been very few instances where I've actually met somebody online first and then met them in real life.
But at the same time, I feel like the networking part of the gaming industry right now is the best it's ever been too, because not only do we have stuff like YouTube and Twitch and Mixer on Xbox now, but I've met people online who I would never meet in a million years without online. Like, I remember I was playing Destiny a year and a half ago or so, and I was in a fire team playing through a raid, and it was me, one other American guy, I think it was 3 people from England and 2 people from Ireland. And at one point we just stopped and just started like talking in the lobby, before the game started for like 20 or 30 minutes, just talking about the difference in our cultures and like food that we eat there as opposed to here and all this stuff. And those aspects wouldn't have happened 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
It creates that social aspect that I feel like we haven't had before, and it's just a whole other dynamic to it. So
yeah, for me it was more about the more personal aspect, because as far as social gaming and social media in general, meeting people online, there's always this, I'm over here, you're over there, and I will, we can be. I mean, for the most part, most of my friends on Xbox Live are acquaintances.
Yeah.
Like we don't. If we ever do talk, it's because of games.
Right.
But when it came to going to the arcade and making friends at the arcade, it became more than gaming. Having guys over to my house, playing basketball at the park, and just all kinds of stuff, man. Like it was more personal.
Yeah.
It was more personal. I made real friends at the arcade.
Right. And I can agree with, that aspect definitely being better. And, I do think that making, personal friends is obviously, far beyond making online friends. No matter how close you may become, it's not ever quite the same unless you do actually end up eventually playing to meet these people. But I don't think that's enough to outweigh the generation difference between then and now, just because, it just outweighs it, I feel like. I mean, I just feel like there's so many benefits to playing now, and I feel like if you took gamers from 20 years ago and show them that what we have now, look through a portal to the future, they would be drooling at the stuff that we're getting to play and the stuff that we're getting to do, all the Bluetooth and wireless and lightning fast internet. That's a pretty big factor.
Yeah, it's a pretty big factor.
I mean, that online play in general, I feel like right now we are in the best era of it. There are a lot of things I hate about this generation of gaming, like pay to win, microtransactions, a lot of the business aspect things, but not all games fall into that category. And I just think that right now is kind of the golden age.
I really appreciate the times whenever you would buy a game and you got the whole game right then and there.
And some games are still doing that.
Some games are still doing that.
But it's a marketing thing, and that's the way the entire world's going. It's not just gaming.
Oh, yeah. And I feel like video games is, for maybe not so much for developers, but for publishers, probably more over. It's become more about the money.
Oh, absolutely.
Than it has totally for the gamers, and I feel like it's getting to the point now to where, I look at, I was talking with some guys about Madden MUT, we look at Halo Wars 2, with all the pay to win aspects of it.
Yeah.
Just totally just taking as much money as they can from the gamers.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's some developers and some publishers who appreciate their gamers. You look at Rockstar and what they do with GTA.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, Rockstar, they can be pay to win, but it never feels like that.
No, it never feels like that. And also there's
so many free updates.
Yeah, they offer a ton of free DLC. Even looking back at Halo 5, with all the free updates that they've given, it's just they just keep rolling it out.
Battlefront 2 is gonna have free DLC.
Dying Light, which was an excellent game. One of my favorite zombie games that I've ever played. And they had one paid DLC, which felt like a full-on another campaign in game with new weapons and everything to add on to it. But everything else was, they said you had to take a sip of water for the DLC.
Oh,
that was the little picture they tweeted.
Oh, okay.
DLC coming out. If you want this DLC, you have to take a sip of water.
Oh, that's a little too much.
That's too much.
All right, well, Troy, I think that's about it from my perspective here.
Yeah, that's all I mean. I see what you're saying with the graphics and where games have come from and how they are now. And one more thing that I feel like is that
you're on a slippery slope here. I think the audience is probably siding with me at this point.
Oh no. And our audience, I'm speaking to you guys. I feel like gamers of this generation don't appreciate this.
Ooh, he's calling out all of you guys.
They don't appreciate the Duck Hunts, and they don't appreciate the Sega Genesis, and they don't appreciate the old school games that got us to where we are now.
Calling you guys out.
Wow. And I mean,
here comes the hate mail.
Oh, bring the hate mail. I mean, the thing is that. I mean, I watch all the streamers and I'm looking on YouTube and stuff like that, and no one's playing this, dude.
Well, that has to do with what's current, too. I mean, if you're a YouTuber or a Twitch streamer, you kind of have to play what's current in order to stay relevant. And in order for that to change, the entire community would have to change.
Well, is it about being relevant or is it about being true to who you are?
Depends on if you want to make money.
Well, I think us here at the Forge Gaming, we
Oh no,
we stay true to who we are.
Yeah, I mean, we play what we want to play.
Yeah, we play
I mean,
whatever we want to
Troy
play.
plays. I mean, you know, obviously, Madden isn't one of the most popular games out there right now, but because you like to play it, you've kind of found an audience that wants to watch that gameplay, and there it goes. You know, and you know, I streamed Rock Band a while back, and we stream, you know, old Halo games and stuff, and you know, just whatever.
We do what we want.
Right. Yeah.
And we hope you guys enjoy.
Yeah. So, Troy, you want to roll us out of here, and then we'll discuss the winner here right after the outro. So stick around after that.
Yeah, guys, thank you for watching Forge Gaming. Thank you for watching our 1v1. Pretty confident I took this win. What we'll start doing is we'll start running polls, which will appear probably on the top right of your screen. Over here.
One of those.
Top right of your screen, we'll run a poll, and you can vote to see whose argument do you think won, Troy or Judah. Yeah, you know, this guy won. But yeah, that's all we got here from the Forge Gaming, and we'll see you guys online.
Take it easy, guys. Thanks for tuning in.